after he died, it was just a shadow hand. Yeah.
Hang on a second. So you actually saw his shadow after he died doing these pranks?
Yeah. Before he died, it was his head, literally.
I want to hear the freaky deaky stories. So if you're on Discord, or if you're not on Discord, there's the link. I'll post it again. Look, here we go. Oh, hang on. The Get Good Grind is in the chat.
Hey, man.
How's it going? All good, mate. You?
Hey, I'm good. I sent you a message a little while ago. Kind of a freaky story. It's just,
Oh, come on.
it's weird because it's like it's kind of paranormal, but not.
Right, so let's hear your story then, dude. I'm going to have a sip of my coffee.
Yeah. So it's an interesting thing. I look back on it. It's from when I was probably 12 or 13 or so, I'd say.
Yeah.
Actually, maybe I'm gonna change that. I think it was probably 15. But anyway, so back then, my best friend, we're still best friends. We talk all the time. That's who I play video games with a lot. He had like these really scary stories that he used to tell, like ghost stories that were from, like, his mom and dad would tell them. Like they were their stories, basically. So essentially, I guess I would say in the early 90s, his parents had a cottage somewhere. Like, that's the thing. I didn't know any details. It was just like, oh, there's a cottage somewhere. And a short way away from this cottage, they found an abandoned house. And they used to go there all the time. Like, they would kind of get together with their friends and they would go to this, essentially just this spooky haunted house, right?
Yeah.
And the peculiar thing about the house was that when they got there, like, there was still like a Volkswagen van parked out front, a Volkswagen Beetle. Like, there were shoes by the door, like all the shoes. There was still breakfast, like, served on the table. Like, all the food, like, literally the house was just a straight up abandoned, like, spur of the moment. Like, they didn't even put their shoes on. Like, weird abandoned house situation. Like, what happened? Like, nobody really knows. So it was this thing.
Yeah.
And they used to go there, and they said, like, you know, they went up to the bedroom, and above this bed there was like these scratch marks on the wall. And
well, I think there's a few scratch marks on my wall.
Yeah, one can hope. Yeah. One can hope. But yeah, so there was like a hatch to the attic, and they put one of their friends up on their shoulders and like popped his head up, and then he came down, was pale, and like wouldn't say what he saw and stuff like that. Like, there's just some weird, kind of give you goosebumps, you know. They said that there were like dead birds like on the outside of the house, like they came and then just died at the house.
Oh, wow.
These creepy stories. And then you fast forward a little bit, and they would still go to the cottage, and his mom would take him for walks. Like, my best friend would take him for walks when he was younger, and they would go to this house, and they would just walk around just as like a place to walk to, I guess. And there was just really nice flowers and all this stuff, like, just kind of around the house and in that area.
Yeah.
And she kind of liked them. And then, of course, you know, they would go on the Ouija board.
Oh, there you go.
That's a thing. Yeah. So they went on the Ouija board, and like, without even saying anything, it was just like, you know, I see you like my flowers kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they'd like be like, well, where are you? And they would say things like, under van, you know, and there's that van in the front. So it's just like,
oh, what? Really sort of specific to like their surroundings.
Yeah. So it's weird stuff, but taken with a grain of salt, right? Like, I was hearing these stories when I was like 13, 14, like, ooh, you know, staying up late, telling these spooky stories. But you take it with a grain of salt at the same time. It's like, you know, it is what it is. A couple years later, like I said, I was about 15. I knew him for a couple years at that point. And he was from Toronto, the Toronto area. And I grew up in a small town about a couple hours away. And he moved to my town. And that's when we met. So I heard these stories, and I'm thinking, like, okay, they're like some faraway land, if they exist at all. And I had a friend over, and I was like, you got to tell him these stories. So, you know, because I loved hearing them.
Yeah.
So he tells him these stories, and it just so happens this friend was the first guy we knew to have a car, the first one of us to get a car.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, let's go.
Yeah,
and I'm like, well, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? And my friend's like, all right, yeah. And all of a sudden, like, I'm in a car. We don't have cell
Oh,
phones, by the
mate.
way. This is the thing. So we don't have cell phones. We don't have anything like that. We don't have cameras. Like I wish we did.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I wish we had cameras and stuff. But on the other side of the coin, like we didn't tell anybody where we were going. So that's kind of what makes it scary for me looking back on it. The most scary part of it for me is that no one knew where we were going. We didn't tell anybody. So all of a sudden I'm just in a car where the three of us are driving. And what I didn't know is that apparently the cottage that they had was like 20 minutes outside of my hometown. And that this place is like close by. But, you know, like I said, I'm in a small town and this place is kind of like out in the woods a bit, you know?
Yeah.
So all of a sudden he's leading us there. Like, yeah, I think it's this way. I think you turn right here. And we're up in these hills outside of the little valley I grew up in. And so we're parked on the side of the road and you can't see anything from the road. Like what lane might have been there at one time was no longer there. Like it was so overgrown.
Oh, okay.
With grass and stuff. But you could tell that at one time it was a lane because there's no big trees. But you couldn't see the house from the road. So we're just walking through like this like bog kind of. And we're just kind of going. You're looking down because you don't want to trip. And then all of a sudden I got this feeling and I just look up and like there it is.
Oh,
like
shit.
the house is just there. And it was the weirdest feeling, I swear, to this day.
Yeah,
like
man.
When I saw it, I was like, it saw me first.
Yeah.
Was the feeling that
Oh,
I
yeah,
got.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
It was just like
Because
because
all the stories you've been hearing for years, man, have finally come to reality again.
that's the crazy thing. It was like I'd heard these stories. You take it with a grain of salt, but no word of a lie. There was a Volkswagen van sunk into the ground, like from years of just sitting there. There was a beetle was still there. The shoes were still by the door. The door was like falling off by this point, but like literally every detail was accurate.
Oh my god.
Perfectly accurate. So by the time we got there, like I didn't step foot inside the place because I couldn't. I just couldn't.
Really?
Pussy! Yeah, Rambo it, right? If I only I knew Rambo it, you know, back then, I would have done it. But no, so like, there was the floor like caved in the front area, so my friend like grabbed the door that had fallen off and like put it over this hole, and I'm just shaking my head, like I was that guy that was just like, you know, what are we doing, kind of thing, like just second guessing everything. But they literally just puts this broken door over this terrible hole, and they're walking across it like it's nothing. I'm like, you guys are crazy. But they go in and they start pulling stuff out of this place, like they're finding these things that are just weird. It's like we found this big sheet with like handwritten like rules, like go to bed by this time, do this by like just weird stuff like that.
Mate, that sounds weird as shit.
Yeah. And then we found a newsletter, like multiple copies of this newsletter, like as if they would have photocopied them and were handing them out at some point or something. But it was for this thing called the Longevity Club. And longevity is like to extend your life like as much as possible.
Oh, they're not sacrificing babies or something
right?
stupid like that. No.
So we read this newsletter, and like on the back of the newsletter is a testimonial from someone that says they're from New York, which is bizarre enough. Like in small town nowhere, Ontario. Like New York's not that far away in the grand scheme of things, but like it's just not a thing.
No.
Like, we're in small town nowhere. It's not a thing. Like New York might as well be like Hollywood.
Yeah.
It's just movie land.
Yeah.
At that, you know. So, but the testimonial's just like, oh, I came to the farm and I was cleansed, and like all this, weird language. This weird language.
It's like the Wicker Man shit or something.
It was just strange. So, and behind the house there were like these cinder block smaller buildings, like kind of like you couldn't, like they didn't really, like they might have been sheds or something. But in my mind, as I put the story together, it's like it seems like it might have been like, I don't know if it was hippie or cult or mixture or something of like as an escape for people to go to. But the reason why it was like straight up just abandoned, like seemingly like the whole thing, it's just weird. It rubbed me the wrong way. But we were walking around, and so my name is Adam, and we knew one of the guys' names that used to live there was named Adam. Yeah. And I don't know how they knew it. Like I think his mom went around and asked like the neighbors about them and stuff. And so we knew a little bit of information. But on the van was ADA, and like another letter that had fallen off. So it was like confirmation
Oh,
of that.
fucking
Like,
hell.
we shared the same name, so that was weird.
You must be shitting bricks, mate.
Oh, it was ridiculous. So here's the thing. So you know how the Ouija board said under the van, right?
Yeah.
So we're walking up and we walk up to this van. And like we hear, I'm not kidding, we hear this noise that's like this weird, like creepy, like what? Like when we're like, we jumped back like 20 feet and we're running back to the car. And then my friend's like, no, like we're here, we gotta go.
Yeah.
So we go up to it and there's a freaking like a raccoon living in the van.
Oh, what? Those are things are vicious as F, aren't they?
Yeah. But like, it was just so, like, what are the odds that something's in there making a creepy noise, you know? But so that
what sort of
wasn't
noises
paranormal,
do
but
they make?
I don't even know. It was just a weird, like, crying hiss. Like, it was just a weird noise.
Oh, mate.
But it was so funny. Like, we were totally freaked out, thinking like, oh, it's this paranormal thing. But anyways, long story short, my friend, the guy who drove us there, looked up at the house when we were coming back around, and then he goes quiet, like dead quiet, and just not saying a word, just starts walking back to the car. And we're like, hey man, like what's going on? And he wouldn't say nothing. So we walk back all the way back to the car, and we get in the car, and we brought some of the newsletters and stuff with us. Like, I don't know where they ended up. I don't know where they ended up after all this time. This is so long ago, but we did bring some stuff with us, and we were showing like his parents and stuff. It was pretty cool. But so we get in the car, and we're like, what's going on? And we started driving, and he finally said like he saw somebody in the top window, is what he said. Like, I didn't see anything, nobody else saw anything, but he's like, I saw somebody in like a flannel jacket or something with like a beard, like a lumberjack or something, like just staring down. And I don't know to this day if there's truth to it or not, but like I said,
if he looked shit up, if he looked
well,
like,
that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, he wouldn't talk, like, and he made a beeline for the car.
Yeah.
So it was like something freaked him out. And at the end of the day, these are the things that go through my mind with this story, because it's not the most paranormal story out there. It's not the scariest story out there, but the things that go through my mind are, I was told these stories so many times, and they gave me chills so many times, and then to see the place like manifested in reality was a feeling that I don't know how many people get that feeling.
Send
I don't
shivers,
know
man.
how many people get that chance to experience something like that. So that's really cool, but scary.
Oh, mate.
And then the other thing,
have you got any photos of it or anything like that? Did you take? Oh, of course, you didn't have a camera, did you?
I wish. Yeah, that's the thing. I wish.
Go back there, mate. Take some video footage. Send it to me. I'll make a video out of it.
Yeah, I don't know if the place is even standing by now, because it was already falling over by then. And that's the other thing that we talk about to this day. Anytime we bring it up, it's like, how does that happen anyways? Like, who's responsible for how does a house just get forgotten like that? It's weird to think about. Like, you'd think somebody would go there.
Yeah,
the government or somebody, like, okay, the payment stopped or something.
Yeah.
Or maybe it was fully paid off. Like, that's the only thing. But then somebody must.
Sometimes this is it. Sometimes those things are like one of those places which becomes sort of unowned by anybody, and you can go to sort of like I don't know, some sort of company or a business, and you can buy it for $1. You know? Yeah. There's places like that dotted around everywhere where, like, you know, they've got no ancestors. Sorry, they've got no, like, you know, family down the line, so they can't pass it on. It's all paid off, so nobody owns it. Right. You know? Yeah.
Yeah, and that's where my mind went. I'm like, you know, it was probably fully paid off, and I imagine like that's the thing. So I'm thinking like, okay, like if there was actually people coming from New York and stuff, they might have been charging money, and maybe it was a scheme. Maybe somebody found out. Maybe they were skipping out on taxes or something. I don't know. Like you tell yourself, there's like 100 different stories you could explain to like find out why people would just leave and leave property there, like vehicles and everything, just like spur of the moment. So it's very bizarre to think about, but thinking back on it, like, again, it's not the most paranormal story, but what's scary to me is that, okay, so we go there, we're 15, 16 years old, we tell nobody where we're going. Nobody would ever find us if we got stuck out there. Like, literally, there's no reason for us to be there, you know what I mean? There's no reason.
Imagine running out of petrol there, mate, or fuel.
Like, that would be fine, but my worry was more so like they put that door over the hole. Like, if they fell in that hole,
oh shit, yeah,
and were injured or something, like what then? Or if that was somebody upstairs, like a crazy person living in this abandoned house, and like something like that happens. Like it's like I get that like I can hear the Unsolved Mysteries theme playing in the background of like these three missing kids.
Some sort
like
of leather face up there, like.
It's weird. So when I look back on it, it's like, I'm glad that we got out. I'm glad that it was good. I'm glad that we had that experience and that kind of stuff. But that's what's scary. It's not so much the paranormal thing that scares me about it, but it's the idea that, geez, we told nobody. Like, nobody would have known. And but on that note, I mean, just the fact that there is legitimately this unsolved mystery outside of my hometown that to this day, as far as my knowledge goes, is like nobody knows about this place other than like
go back there,
group of
mate.
us,
You got to go back
bizarre.
there, mate.
Yeah, it would be interesting. I'm like on the other side of the country now.
Okay.
I moved away from Ontario, but my best friend still lives there and stuff. And
tell him to go there.
It would be interesting to see if it's still like even there, or if somebody does own the property now and has demolished it and that kind of stuff.
Or they're
like,
just living in it and still haven't moved the bloody shoes from the front door.
Yeah.
Eh?
Yeah, that's some weird stuff. But I mean, it's not much of a paranormal story, but it's weird.
No, it's a good story, mate. Mate, you should. Can you read me a bedtime story? Wouldn't it be great to have a voice like this dude? Eh? Epic voice, mate. Maximum voice. Oh, what's on, mate?
What's up, mate?
How's it going?
I'm quite literally shaking right now, all over.
Oh, mate, was it that scary? The story's that scary?
I'm quite nervous to talk to you.
No, it's cool, man. It's cool. Let's hear it then, mate.
It's gonna be heartwarming, and I'm eventually maybe gonna cry.
What, this story you're gonna tell me?
Yeah.
You think I'm gonna cry?
No, I'm gonna cry.
Oh, you're gonna cry?
Yeah, maybe. Because at first
is this gonna get awkward for me?
Hell.
Is this gonna be like one of those where it just?
Oh, it starts out creepy as hell.
When it gets to the punchline, you're crying, and I'm like.
And not that kind of way. I mean, it's taking a really sad turn.
Okay. All right. Okay.
I'm actually quite nervous.
Don't be nervous, dude. Listen, we're all friends, man. Just tell us. Go for it, mate. What is it? What happened?
So I don't know if that first thing is related to the whole story, but it all started when I was 4. I had a nightmare of something that looked like a room in the house, but more decorated like a hunting trophy room.
Mm-hmm.
Know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
And there was a stuffed boar in that room,
A
right
stuffed
below the
boar?
window. Yeah.
Okay.
And that thing came to life, threatened me, like, get out of that house or I'm gonna kill you.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 4 at the time.
Right, and you remember this?
Yeah, clear as day.
Okay.
It was quite a frightening experience.
Right.
And I only remember it because my father brought it up some 8 years later.
Okay.
Because I told him that story from that nightmare, and when I was 12, he told me, so now you're old enough for it. That room was a hunting trophy room of your grandfather, and he hated children.
Oh,
like,
God!
Literally. He used to beat them, so he used to beat my father and his siblings.
Oh, God, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Oh, shit, okay, yeah.
And he told me that. It seems I kind of described the voice of that boar to my father.
Mm-hmm.
And he said it sounded exactly like I was talking about his dad.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And from that moment on, when he told me that, it all started with scratching noises, bumps on the attic, and shit like that. We went up the attic and found some old boots over there, which apparently were old hunting boots.
Right.
And yeah, it kept on going for years.
It kept on going?
Yeah, it kept on going, knocking noises. And on the bathroom door, it's in the basement, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And there is a crust on that door.
There's a cross?
A crust.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Like hardened dust.
Yeah.
Almost. I can't even scratch it when I'm scratching as hard as I can with my fingernails.
Oh, what is it then?
I don't know, but in that crust, there was a handprint after it started bumping.
It started bumping?
Yeah, and after that there was that handprint.
What the hell, man? And,
Yeah.
and how old are you at this point?
Like 14, maybe?
Oh my god.
Yeah, and it went completely nuts.
Right.
Until like 2018 when it took that turn to the more sad side.
Okay.
Because in 2018 my uncle died in the room right next to mine.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I actually was the one who found him.
Oh no, man. Sorry,
Yeah.
dude.
I stared right in his eyes.
Oh god.
Yeah, and from that point on, that bumping and all stopped completely.
Really?
It stopped immediately.
So
but it turned.
Maybe it
but
was your
turned
uncle
more-
like sorting it out.
No, it stopped when he died.
Oh
So
man.
that bumping and all, that haunting stuff,
Yeah.
stopped when he died.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Maybe when he died, his like.
But after he died,
Yeah.
it took a turn to more of prank stuff.
Oh,
Pranks that
okay.
he did pranks that he used to do when he was alive.
Okay. What more like light-hearted pranks and stuff like that? Yeah.
Oh, we did it quite. We were quite ruthless with the pranks
Yeah.
sometimes.
Right.
I mean, he used to stick right at night. He used to just knock at the door and stick his hand in the room and start waving. And he was like a really skinny dude.
Oh fuck it! He didn't do that afterwards. You didn't see a shadow of him, did you?
After he died, it was just a shadow hand. Yeah.
Hang on a second. So you actually saw his shadow after he
Yeah.
died doing these pranks?
Yeah. Before he died, it was his hand, literally.
Oh, what, man?
But after he died, it looks like his hand, really. And he was a guy. He watched a lot of Star Trek.
Yeah.
You know that Star Trek: The Next Century intro?
Yeah. I sort of like. I haven't watched Star Trek in like maximum years, mate.
I hear it still in the hallway.
You what?
Yeah, it's quite hilarious sometimes. So that all that creepy stuff stopped immediately at the moment he died. He died during the
Fucking
day.
hell, man.
He died during the day. He sat in my room, smoked a cigarette. We were talking
Yeah.
a bunch of shit, like we always did. He got into his room, was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna take a little nap until it's time to eat."
So are you still
I
living
was-
in this house?
Yeah, I'm still living in his house. I still live in the room right next to his.
Oh, Jesus, man. Have you ever had any experiences outside of this house?
Sometimes in the backyard.
Oh, really? Oh, but
Yeah.
still on the premises.
Still on the premises, yes.
Okay.
Sometimes-
but never
sometimes-
anywhere else.
Sometimes right on the edge of the parking lot where my uncle used to stand.
And what does your dad say about all this?
He hears it sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's like, yeah, might be the wind. It's an old house.
Oh, okay. So he doesn't believe.
No.
But then surely, if you're hearing all these scratches and bangs and all that sort of stuff, like,
Yeah.
do you think he's just in denial of it all?
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, at the time that thing happened, he was just shopping groceries.
Wow.
I mean, my uncle was sitting here onto the nap. 2 hours later, I found him.
Oh, mate.
Yeah.
Bloody hell. Well, I'm so sorry to hear that, man.
And
So,
the
do you feel safe though, right?
Kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah, the pranks were getting quite out of hand when he was alive.
Well, like, what type of pranks? I mean, obviously, like.
I mean, we would stand behind some edges or stuff like that and just slap each other with some thin wooden boards, stuff like that.
shit.
And it's still happening. It's still happening.
What? He's smashing boards over your fucking head. Hey.
We did that,
Jesus,
and he
mate.
still does it.
I'm like, oh, you what the fuck? Jesus. Like, do you have any marks to prove it?
Do you have a small scar on my hand?
Yeah? What about on your head?
Yeah.
What's your head like? Like an elephant man come the end of it if he keeps on doing that.
It was just like really thin boards, that kind of boards on the backside of closets.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
These almost like paper-ish
Jesus,
things.
mate. Fucking hell.
Without
Maximum
names.
activity at your place. Have you ever thought about doing an investigation?
I actually did.
Did you? What
Yeah,
happened?
but I was kind of creeped out of what I might catch.
Okay.
So I tried to film stuff,
Yeah.
but it never happens when the camera rolls.
Oh man. Maybe
Yeah.
maybe get some of those you know, the Ring cameras and stuff, you know? That turn on for like turn on when you get like bloody movement and stuff.
But that's not okay with that.
Or get a bloody EMF TRF OVW out and shit.
Could try that.
You know? Get some activity, mate.
But
And then send
really
it to me and I'll react to it.
The really haunting stuff stopped immediately after that event.
Yeah?
Yeah.
That's strange, mate. That's strange.
After that, it turned lighthearted.
Yeah? Well,
Yeah.
as long as I'd much rather light-hearted, but you're gonna have to tell him just to ease up on the fucking play. It's not. Just tell him it's not WWE, mate.
I mean, sometimes I go into the basement, get smacked with that fucking board, and go like, yeah, that's a good one.
It's like Can you remember Police Academy? That the father and son that beat each other up. Have you ever watched the Police Academies?
Yeah, I've seen it.
They were brilliant, you know, when the boy gets in and the father's like, hey, boom, and then the son's like, hey, bang, and then they keep on hitting harder and harder.
Yeah.
That's so good. It's a bit like that. Right, listen, man. Like I say, I really appreciate that story. I know it must have been tough to tell us, man. But yeah, that's. I'm sorry, like I haven't really got much to say about that, and it's just because it's so damn weird. It's so weird and to the point, you know. And it's still happening now. Like most things are like the one story that happens to somebody, but this is like maximum activity, please.
I mean, I myself find it quite weird to think that something's here.
Yeah. Thank you so much, mate. I really appreciate it, and thanks for the support in that.
Yeah.
All right.
You bloody legend.
You bloody legend, mate. Cheers, buddy. Bye bye.